All of the casinos in Los Angeles are now closed indefinitely because of the new lockdown. So again, I'm forced to make the 2-hour drive down to Lake Elsinore Casino. And the wait list, fortunately this time was a little bit shorter, but I still had to wait longer than usual for a normal pre-COVID game. Get into the 2-3 game for $300, which is the most you can buy in for. And unfortunately, this usually doesn't happen, but I didn't get my camera out fast enough, and you guys missed out on a nice hand where we almost doubled up with kings versus pocket queens all in pre-flop. So we're starting this video with around 500 in our stack. Fortunately, you guys missed out on the kings, but don't worry, I got pocket aces here for you at the first hand. We're in the cutoff. 2 limps to me, the low jack raises it up to 10, I repop it to 30, folds back around to the guy who raised it for 10, and he doesn't call, and he doesn't fold, he shoves, but unfortunately he only has around 50 total. I snap call, no brainer here. The flop comes 4 of hearts, ace of diamonds, 6 of diamonds. We hit trips in the second hand of the day. The turn is the 6 of hearts. The river is the 8 of spades, and he shows pocket tens, which makes sense, but we show our aces and we scoop this $141 pot. 560 in our stack, and we look down at pocket jacks. So we've got aces, kings, and jacks, the first 3 hands. Nice. 3 limps to me, I raise it up to 20. The under the gun limper and the cutoff make the call, so we're going 3 ways to the flop. Around 68 in the pot, the flop comes king of spades, 5 of hearts, 10 of hearts. The cutoff shoves for $53, and even though there's an overcard, he only has around 53 in his stack, and he limp called pre-flop, so I think his range here is heavy for heart flush draws. So for all those reasons I just mentioned, I call. The turn comes the queen of clubs. The river comes the 10 of clubs, pairing the board. We're happy that the heart draw missed, but we're not happy when he ends up showing king 9 of hearts. Worst case scenario for us, and he's going to scoop that $174 pot. $460 now in our stack. We look down at queen 10 offsuit from the cutoff. Folds to me, so naturally I'm going to raise it up to $12 here. And the button in the big blind call. 3 ways to the flop with 38 in the pot comes 3, 9, 6. Checks to me, and I bet 20 here for literally no other reason other than everyone checks to me. And unfortunately, one person calls, and that's the big blind, so we're going to need some help here on the turn. 78 in the pot, the turn comes the 3 of clubs. Total rainbow on this board, and the big blind checks it over to us again. When he checks it here to us twice on the flop and the turn, I'm going to put him all in here for $80. I don't think we should be doing this all too often, but in this specific situation, I'm repping an overpair, and he's just called my bets. He never raised, never showed that he had too good of a hand. So I think he has a 1-pair type of hand, and let's put him to the test. He folds, we win, and I show for the game and scoop with queen high. $504 now in our stack. We look down at jack of hearts, jack of clubs from under the gun. Second time we're picking up pocket jacks here tonight. I raise it up to 15. Under the gun +1, the middle position, and the big blind all call. We're going 4 ways to the flop here with 62 in the pot. Terrible flop for us when it comes ace, king, queen. High check. I'm going to check here 100% of the time. My left bets $30, and we have no choice but to sadly fold our pocket jacks into the muck. The player that won that hand was nice enough to show what he had because he was leaving. He had ace, king. Nice hand, sir. At this point, the player to my left, Kevin, keeps talking to the table about this new drink that he discovered recently and offered to buy me one. Leave a comment down below if you can guess what kind of drink this was. The hint is that it's somewhat in the title of pickle juice. Nope, no one got it? Okay, I'm going to tell you, it was a Jameson shot with a side of pickle juice. And I've never heard of it before, so I gladly accepted that free drink. And we cheers to my late favorite rapper, King Von. Cheers to King Von. Cheers.
There you go. Cheers.
And the drink actually tasted pretty good, so if you guys haven't tried it or don't know what this drink is about, I would definitely suggest trying it out next time. That being said, we pick up pocket queen from the hijack, and I raise it up to 15. Small blind and the big blind call, so we're going 3 ways to the flop with $60 in the pot. Flop comes 8-5 deuce with 2 spades. We have an overpair. The middle position player now does something interesting and leads for 55 into us, which I think represents either top pair or a flush draw. So I call and we're going to go heads up to the turn. 170 in the pot, the turn comes the 10 of spades, which is not ideal for us because we're not holding a spade in our hand, making it more likely that he was leading with a spade flush draw, but he checks it over to me. Now my thinking goes the other way here, and I think sometimes he could be trapping with a flush, but a good amount of the time he will have top pair or maybe a one spade type of hand and is scared to get raised here, and that's why he's checking it over to us. So I decide to do something that I normally wouldn't, and I go for value here, and I bet $100. We obviously don't want to see a spade on the river, but given that he checked it over to us here after leading on the flop, I think he doesn't have a flush. It gives us now the initiative, so when he probably checks it to us on the river, we can decide whether we want to check it back and see a cheaper showdown, or we can go for more value on the river. The river with 370 now in the pot comes the 4 of spades, which is not ideal to say the least. His one spade hands get there, and without a spade in his hand, he won't call another bet with just a top pair or middle pair. And he checks it over to us here, which is expected. And even though I go back and forth about whether I should bet for value here, I just can't find enough hands that I beat that would call a bet here, even for like $75 to $100. I can't find enough hands that he would call with, considering there's 4 spades on board. And so I put in the check. He ends up showing ace 8 of clubs for top pair, and we end up scooping that $370 pot.
Rough.
I didn't know if I had to bet to get a low flush off, you know?
I know, right? Oh, good.
Our man Kevin now orders us a few more shots, and we're on to the last hand of the night, which is definitely a good one, so buckle your seatbelts. 655 now in our stack, and we look down at ace 6 of clubs from the small blind. Under the gun limps, under the gun +2 raises it to 10, and the button calls. I call here looking to flush over flush someone in a cooler, and our pickle juice loving friend Kevin here raises it up to $43, which would normally set off some alarm bells, but considering we're about 3 drinks deep here and he's been splashing it up ever since we had those drinks, I'm not concerned here in the slightest, so I'm going to need some good pot odds regardless if I want to make this call. Everyone decides to call, so we're definitely getting the right odds, and we put in the call as well, and we're going to go 4 ways to the flop. With 182 now in the pot, the flop comes 4 of spades, 3 of clubs, 7 of diamonds, giving us a gutter and a backdoor flush draw, so not the worst flop in the world. I check. Kevin continues here and bets $60 into 180, around 1/3 pot, and the middle position player thinks about it, ends up calling. I think I'm getting around 5 to 1 here, and I'm definitely going to want to pick up another card here, so we put in the call. The turn with 362 in the pot comes the 10 of clubs. We now pick up the flush draw, a lot more outs for us, 9 more to be exact, and we're going to check it over here to the aggressor, seeing if we can't get to a river fairly cheaply. Kevin bets 100 now, and now the middle position player decides to shove for 149, and we definitely have a decision here. The good news is that Kevin can't re-raise from the big blind, and he's not going to be folding for an additional $49, at least I would never expect him to do so. So we have to call 149 to win around 660. That math comes out to around 4.5 to 1, or 22% equity that we need to make this call. We can definitely assume that we would win with any 5 card giving us a straight. Definitely we can assume that we're going to win with a club giving us the nut flush, so that gives us 13 outs, and simple math tells us that's around 26% equity. So given that math is all behind us, I decide to call, and Kevin throws in the additional $49 for the call. Nice call, Kevin. With 809 now in the pot, we need help on the river. Please, dealer. One of our 13 outs comes the 4 of hearts. Crap. Leaves us with just ace high here, and we're definitely not good, and it's a side pot. So I can't fire here. There's no point trying to get Kevin out of the hand. A, because he's 3 drinks deep, and B, because it's a dry side pot, and we still have to win against the other player who's already all in. So I check. Kevin nicely checks it back and decides to show 10-8 offsuit. So he ended up having nothing on the flop when he c-bet. In the turn, he picked up top pair and decided to fire. and he's gonna scoop that monster pot, which is definitely unfortunate. We couldn't realize any of our equity there. I think I made the right call on the turn on the river. Let me know down below if you guys would have done the same.
Oh, really? Yeah. I'm so good.
We got out of the game for $344, so we ended up profiting $44, which is good, but it could have been way more. If we would have found an Andrew Nemi favorable card in that last hand, would have been up around 900, so that's unfortunate. All right, that's gonna do it for tonight. We got into the game for 300, out of the game for 344, so we booked a profit of $44 here for around 4 hours. We were up a good amount and then gave it away in that ace-6 of clubs hands, but I think it was a good call because we only needed 25% given the pot odds, and we had like 6-1 on the call. So as always, please like the video, subscribe if you are not already, and I'll catch you guys in the next video in the next couple days. Thanks for the support, I appreciate it. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace. Thanks for watching to the end of my video. Click my head below to subscribe and stay in the loop. See you next time.